Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Resident Evil Code Veronica X. In the last part we did more exploration around the military training facility, playing a little bit of Steve in the process and meeting our earliest Bandersnatches. And now that we have the emblem card, it's time for us to explore a bit further around this facility. Namely, we can now access more floors from this elevator since we can't really go back to the pathway that Steve and Claire fell through last part. I should note, by the way, there are some temporary one-way doors in this sector, but they are far and few between. It's mostly just that one you use the biohazard card key on near the entrance. That really becomes that for a bit. This game really likes doing jump scares with zombies like that. It might have the most out of those in the series, which is almost absurd. I guess because they could do it fully 3D, do more with the camera, they decided they might as well try and go all out with it or something like that. It's almost distracting at times. They almost all come with that usual kind of horror sting too, which admittedly I am a fan of. There's the army proof though. That is 2 out of the 3 long-term goals done. And now we're looking in the bio-experiment room that we saw that guy get killed in. In fact, there's his body. I believe right through that door is where we fought the Bandersnatch earlier. But we can zoom in on the painting to figure out what the code is on it. There's a number. The number 1126 is written here. And investigating that also makes the bio-experiment room ventilate fully so we can now actively enter that area. The past door lock system has been enabled. So that's now an area we can go access, but also zombies will wake up here, but we don't need to worry about them because, well, to be frank, they're too far away from you when you're entering this door, and when you come back through this door, they're either too far away or in too weird a position to ever be a real threat to you. This game does like to put a lot of zombies in larger hallways. It's just harder for them to reach you, and it's only in really a couple of rooms where there's a bunch of zombies that become a problem. And again, you can be a lot more volatile with your ammo than I am in this LP. It's mostly just instincts from Resident Evil 1 through 3 that's making me save all my ammo the way I am. Because even after the series started getting more of an action tone, starting in Resident Evil 2, there was still a bit of tightness with ammo. Like, I usually end a playthrough of Resident Evil 2 with like 70 handgun ammo, but at that point I'm all focused on Magnum and shotgun. If I recall correctly, I end this playthrough with over 500 handgun bullets, so you can be a little more reckless with it, I'd say. I've always found investigating certain parts of this game a little weird. Like, to investigate this code number, you actually have to investigate the door, not the panel, which is what you'd think you'd have to do. Just a little awkward. Still, once you enter 1126, you can enter here no problem. That code does not change between playthroughs, by the way. And even though it looks like you can see the password from just the initial lighting up, in the GameCube version at least, you can't enter it until you look at this room through that camera earlier. They do a better job making that code on the painting invisible on the HD remaster where they changed the lighting up to be a little more moody. But we also want to grab the painting because it is pretty important.
Biohazard contamination detected. Level 3. Emergency shutters will close. All personnel evacuate immediately.
God, we just cleared the biohazard alert. Come on. Also, I hope that jump scare didn't get you too bad. We have about 50 seconds to get back down to the stairs a couple rooms prior to this. And the albinoids in that room, which is the name of those little worm things, can be surprisingly annoying to get around because there's a lot of them. They are tiny and they will shock you, and I think they can combo you a decent chunk. I don't think they do too much damage to compensate. The bigger threat here is the timer, but once you reach the stairs, it doesn't matter how long it takes to get down them. You're good. You're safe. And we never have to go back up there again. Now, the skull painting can be a little bit of an annoying item to use if you don't immediately recognize where it would go. Back in the painting room where we got the eagle plate part or two ago, where the eagle plate is, if you look around it, there's the mark of where a painting used to be, and if you look at the painting in that room, it shows the skull painting in that place anyway. So we need to go back up to there on the, I think it's the first floor, and use it in that location to grab whatever item that'll allow us to get. Also, the Cerberus in there never really get to be a threat. Because I find Cerberus in this game are either too slow for the areas they're placed in, or the areas are too wide for them to have any real effect. The only place I find them effective is the very front of the palace, because that area is so thin and they put so many of them. It's kind of a... I don't want to say sad, but it makes me miss the days when they were arguably the most annoying enemy in the game. Because in Resident Evil 1, the only enemy more annoying than them, I'd say, is probably the Chimeras in the lab. And even then, that's partially just due to a speed thing. And that reveals this model of the military training facility. There's a simple lock there. Don't worry about that. A memorial plate. There's some writing on it. Dedicated to the training facility's completion, December 8th, Alfred Ashford. And in it we have a gold key. And you can also investigate it again to see if there's a weird hole in the middle of it. That'll come more into play way later. The gold key, I don't remember if they actively show you how to use that. We need to take that back to the palace, as one of the doors in the hallway with like the 3 or 4 zombies can only be opened by that. I believe the way they denote it might be something along the lines of, if you investigate the door beforehand, it's like a golden door or a golden lock. So that's our next destination. This is what I was really referring to in prior parts, where I'm like, there's a lot of smaller sections to this game, period, but they make you go between them a lot more. Since we found this key for the palace in the military training facility, we're going to go there, get an item that we can use in a different subsection. Admittedly, you can proceed through the plot a bit faster than this, as at this point you can actively proceed further in, but you're going to need the items I'm grabbing eventually anyway. So I am taking a few steps out of my way to grab items, but it's just going to save me time later on more than anything. Also, there's no more zombies in that room before the palace. They now just put 2 Bandersnatches there. They're not just a mini-boss. They are a normal enemy type throughout the first half of the game. And like I mentioned, the first Bandersnatch you fight has more health than the average one, so you don't have to worry too much about spamming weapons at them. The biggest weakness of the Bandersnatches, I find, is a lot of times they actively try to swing up to whatever level you're on, and that takes up enough time that you can just walk right past them, usually. There's only really one room you go through twice with 2 sets of Bandersnatches that spawn at different points, where they are actively a super threat. Now, the gold key door, I believe, is the one at the far end, so we need to go all the way over there. That's rude. I believe zombies in this game are a little different from the prior games in that I think you can shake them off of you before they do damage. I don't remember if you can do that in the prior games, but I also am much better at not getting hit in the prior games, partially because of the amount of enemies there are in the prior games. Alright, time for one of my favorite puzzles. Welcome to the family portrait room. Message to the new family master. Sir Alfred, congratulations on your succession as master of the Ashford family. I hereby present you with an earthenware vase according to the Ashford family tradition. As you may know, this tradition first began when a butler presented a golden teacup as a commemorative to Veronica. As founder of the Ashford family, her intelligence and beauty are legendary. The second and third masters, Stanley and his son Thomas, were also presented with similar teacups. It was their hope to achieve glory as Veronica did before them. The position of family master then shifted from Sir Thomas to his twin brother Sir Arthur. It then went to Sir Edward, your grandfather. That was when the Ashford family enjoyed its golden age. It was also Sir Edward's achievement that established the large chemical enterprise Umbrella Incorporated. However, when Sir Edward passed away and your father Sir Alexander succeeded the position, the glorious Ashford family gradually began to sink. I sincerely hope that the Ashford family regains its glory with your guidance, just as this face continues to shine eternally. Scott Harmon, Butler, Ashford family. So that is the hint for this entire puzzle. There is a painting of each of the Ashford family masters in this room. There's a button beneath each. You need to push them in order starting from Veronica all the way to Alfred. The only way the way you're meant to figure this out is by looking at what they've been given, what information you know what they've been given. For instance, Veronica got a teacup. Then it went to the guy who had twins. And then you just need to figure out which twin is which. And from there it goes all the way down to Alfred. It's sort of an equivalent to the Stages of Life puzzle in the room with all the ravens in Resident Evil 1 in the Spencer Estate. This game's puzzles aren't exactly hard. There's a couple of brain teasers like I brought up last part, but when there's a legitimate puzzle, I think it's good. I think even the worst classic Resident Evils still have good puzzles within them. It's the same child scene in the projector film. There's a message written on the picture. Trace the Ashford legacy. Reveal the true master. There's a button below. Push it. Reveal the true master, huh? I'm sure that means nothing. But we get that earthenware vase that the butler was talking about, and if you check it and look inside of it, there's something inside. This is the the Queen's Ant object. That is another sort of long-term item that we need to end the area off. So, that young girl's the real true master of this generation, I guess the sister was chosen, and then just something happened to her, huh? Alfred's in charge now, either way. Now, you don't need to do that now. I'm just doing that now because I had the key, and it allows me to get this done now. I will need to come back here eventually to go open that other door that was just behind me. But for now, we can take care of my other objective here in the palace. Now that we have the gold Luger, since we gave Steve the submachine guns, we can open that door in the secretary's office. While I'm here, though, I want to take care of some of these zombies. Namely that one to my left, and I think there's one to my right now as well. As we're going to be heading to the room that's straight ahead of Claire right now soon anyway, I don't think you can open that door unless you open the electronic lock earlier in the game. We also get to see something somewhat annoying. I think this might be the first Resident Evil where zombies can go upstairs. At least stairs in the same room that aren't a room transition. I don't think they could do that in Resi 2 or 3. Definitely not Resi 1. The only zombie who could go downstairs in Resident Evil 1 is the one that had that FMV in the kitchen. Oh yeah, and you saw it there. Zombies can still throw up on you to attack, but they don't do it too often. I think only certain zombies are programmed to do it, period. Alright, now this can be one of the bigger inventory management sessions, as because of the amount of key items this game has, there's a lot more times where you need to have items trade hands between yourself and the item box back and forth at even short time intervals. It gets kind of ridiculous with the amount of item navigation you can do in this particular game. I would say it's the worst with it, but at least there are item boxes in this game at all, unlike Resident Evil 0. Which is one of the main reasons that's my least favorite classic Resident Evil. There's a couple of others as well, but I'll go more into those when we eventually get to that game. I'm gonna need to figure out if I want to do that game's HD remaster or not, because there's more costumes, yes, but also, like, there's a part of me that wants to put a lot of effort into a game I don't like just so I can say I did the best I could with it. I like parts of this, which is why I'm okay doing the non-HD remasters, since that means if I wanted to, I could, like, stream it or something later on. Something's written on the memo. First digit, left, right. Second digit, left. Third digit, right. Fourth digit, right, right, right. You must not reset while maneuvering. That is a part of a puzzle in this very room. There's no power going to it. Turn on the computer? Sure. So is that just your Windows startup or something? We need to figure out a password using the hint that memo gave us, as well as this clock that's now lit up. You push a button, it rotates the thing behind the main clock face behind it. Whatever it shows is the number that you can input. Follow the memo, and it'll give you all 4 digits. That comes out, I believe, to 1971, which I think is the birth year of Alfred, if memory serves. If you mess up, you can just press the reset button to restart back at the AA and go from there. Something I do appreciate about this game is that a lot of the, like, straight-up puzzles, any hints to them are in the same room as the puzzle themselves. Sometimes classic Resident Evil put those a couple rooms away from each other in documents. that was loud. I'm gonna need to lower that a little bit in post, actually. Surprise Bandersnatch. You never need to fight that one. Even when you have to backtrack through this room later on, you can just run right past it, because it spawns in the back corner every single time. Well, this is an oddly ornate bridge. Word of advice. Equip your grenade launcher. Well, that was eerie. That's oddly the most, like, generic horror shot in the game, but it is oddly effective. I'll give the game that. So, this particular room's annoying in that there's 2 Bandersnatches just here. You can ignore them, but there's a staircase at the end of the room where they can just jump up to get to you. This particular Bandersnatch is the one that likes to jump up. And given the amount of ammo you can have at this point, I think it's just better to take care of these 2 in particular. Later on, at a certain other point in the game, 2 more do spawn here, but those ones I find are easier to ignore because I think they actively have to jump up onto the level design, period. Plus, I want to grab this red herb. There's not many of these in the game, so I'm going to take every single one I can, damn it. Welcome to the Ashford Mansion. You thought the palace is where they lived? Oh god, no. I do recommend the moment you get in here, by the way, equipping the lighter, because there are bats in here who will attack you, as many have before. Now, you don't need to go into this side room I'm entering right now. All that's in here is, I think, some bowgun bolts, a first aid spray, and handgun ammo? There's also a Bandersnatch, who is in pretty tight quarters, so it's probably not the most recommendable. You can also light the fire in here, but I don't think it actively does anything outside of just make the items either grabbable or more visible, depending on the version you're playing. Also, as you can tell, grenade rounds, very useful against Bandersnatches, because especially if you're right up in front of them, every single particulate of them hits the Bandersnatch, and it does a lot of damage pretty quickly. Oh yeah, there's also ink ribbons in here. Forgot about that a moment ago. On a fresh playthrough, if you haven't played the game before, the amount of ink ribbons in this game I think are pretty satisfactory. There's a lot of them, but enough that if you save regularly, you're probably gonna have some moments of, ooh, should I save this for now or later? I still think the tightest ink ribbons ever got in the series is probably either 1 or certain difficulty modes of Remake. I recall 0 being a bit tight, but I also am a bit overzealous with saving in 0 because of some minor quirks with that game in particular. I don't think I've ever fully finished a playthrough of the difficulty modes in 7 or the Remake 2 and 3 that add ink ribbons or the equivalent of, though. Because I just don't like using ink ribbons, period, as a saving device. It was cool back when, it's just kind of tedious now to me.
Keep focused, brother. Our enemy is only a little girl. Oh, why is this taking so long?
My apologies, Alexia, but I have been doing my best.
The revival of the Ashford family depends on your success, brother.
I am aware of that, Alexia. I will revive the family name myself and make you the master of the glorious Ashford family.
Do not worry, brother. I will handle them both myself. Who is there? Is someone at the corridor?
What is it, Alexia?
Nothing. I believe I must have been imagining things. Let us go, brother.
And thus we meet the other Ashford twin. I do love that she just doesn't exit the door nearby to see if there's somebody in the corridor. I would have completely screwed Claire over, but the door's right there. It's literally 4 feet away from her. That room is not very big that she's in right now. Why? Now, admittedly, I do technically screw something up in this section in that I can grab an item here, but I just don't. The reason I don't is because I know I'll be coming back here later on anyway, so I might as well save it for then. because usually I don't like to take items that are needed exactly next to where they are. I like to save those if I can until later. Welcome to Alexia's room, and oh, that's kind of a pretty tune. The music box is playing a beautiful melody. Something's written on the back of the lid. Red Queen and Blue King return. The path opens. Stop the music box? I guess. There was a neat little shaped indent on the top of that. We can use the Queen Ant object to open it back up. And you can then grab that music disc. That's the item I'm saving until later because I'm going to be back this way anyway. The silver key is the more important thing to grab here. Now, you can head into the room next door in the main hallway. I don't think there's any ammo for you in there at this point, though. It's just not worth going into until you not only have the music disc, but the matching item to the Queen Ant object. And with that, our business is done in the Ashford estate for now. Also, I didn't comment on the creepy as hell giant mannequin. What the hell is with that shit? That might be the most, like, traditional horror thing that Resident Evil's done prior to, like, Resident Evil 7 or 8. It's weird. Since we got the silver key, though, our main business is now back in the main palace, as we can now open the other door in that hallway where you used the gold key earlier this part. But with that, I'm going to need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching, and in part 6, we're going to go explore more of the palace, and then see where the game takes us after that. See you guys then.